taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Acura TLX. This is obviously the fully digital version. I haven't been in one of the ones with the last generation analog. If that's available, you'll find it down in the description. And then if you want to walk through on the infotainment system, you'll find that in the description as well. But taking a peek, there are so many different things. First thing I'll point out is that the steering wheel across the lineup is manual telescoping. So by your left knee, so release there, in, out, up and down to find that perfect position. Once you find it, click it in order to lock it back into place. The actual steering wheel style is going to be somewhat similar across the lineup. So this is the Type S, which is why I've got that Type S badge, flat bottom steering wheel. The A spec will be flat bottom, and then the Tech will just be a regular rounded wheel instead. But very similar functionality. So let's go ahead and dive into all the different stocks and buttons. Starting off with the stick along the left-hand side. So you've got the flexibility of adjusting your lights. So one thing that I'm going to say is that the screen itself gives you the flexibility of putting the vehicle into an auto headlamp mode in your lights for your vehicle. I definitely would recommend keeping yourself in the auto high beam setup here. And the big reason why is because when you're in the auto light mode, if the vehicle recognizes high beams are needed, it turns them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it turns them off. From there, if you wanted to permanently lock your high beams out, you just have to go into the bottom headlamp mode instead. You could push away to permanently turn them on, pull it towards you to turn them off. But in the auto mode, with the auto high beam turned on, it does it automatically. You can still flash your high beams out if you'd like to though. From here, right stick is going to be for your wipers. So you've got a few different options available. If you go one level down, that then gives you the flexibility of using the little rocker in the middle here in order to be able to say how fast or slow that rain's hitting the windshield, or you can go into some of those crazy fast modes instead. You can also pull towards you in order to get that front wiper fluid going. And there's a button on the tip of the right stick, and pushing that is a hot button press to get to your camera with a few different views that are available too. Neat. From here, the car has paddle shifters. So your minus along the left-hand side with your plus along the right-hand side. So if you wanted to drop gears in order to be able to shoot up your RPMs to give you some launch speed, you've got that flexibility. If you needed to rely on engine braking because your brakes have died, you've got that flexibility as well. But if you've never used paddle shifters before, they're really straightforward to use. It works the same way as a column shifter or a hand shifter this way, not a manual transmission, but an auto. But if you want to walk through on how these are actually used, check down in the description of this video for a walkthrough on that instead. The steering wheel inside of the ride is going to be heated if yours is heated. Button along the top of the pad there, so top right side of the left pad. You could turn the audio on or off by pushing this button. There's a volume rocker here. There's a volume rocker down the center as well, and the flexibility of toggling your audio off this way. So you can do that a few different ways. From there, you've got a little trackpad, and that's going to let you figure out what's going on inside of the left part of the cluster, but I'll show you that one as we zoom in. There's a voice command prompt where you can do things like change songs, radio stations, you can navigate using your voice, and so many other things. If your phone was connected, so Android or iPhone, you could do a long button push and hold there as well in order to be able to launch into either your Google or your Siri Assistant, depending on which phone is connected. Straightforward. And then there's a menu button, and that's going to bring you the flexibility of adjusting which source you're currently listening to. So you can jump in between your sources, but then as you jump deeper into that level, you can also look at your individual favorited stations for each of your available sources too. But we'll dive into that one as we get inside of the cluster. Along the right-hand side, series of other options. So you've got your adaptive cruise control system. So you can toggle it on this way. Once the system's turned on, you then push down in order to set your speed. From there, you can increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour at a time by pushing up or down, or pushing and holding up or down is going to increase you to the nearest 5 or 0 kilometers or miles per hour. So let's say if you initially set it at 37, push and hold up, it'll bring you to 40, 45, 50, etc. Push and hold down will do the opposite. You can hit the brake to cancel your speed. You can hit the cancel button to cancel your speed. Then you push up to resume your previously set speed. The TLX also has the option for either traditional or adaptive cruise control. So adaptive cruise control is going to be the default when you turn the cruise control system on. But there's this button, which is your gap adjustment. So in adaptive cruise control, there are 4 unique levels. So it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. So let's say if you set it at 60, car in front of you slows down, yours is automatically going to brake. If they change lanes, you change lanes, they pick up speed, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed, but that's based off of your distance indicator. So your gap adjustment here. So I normally recommend level 1 on just residential streets. You might want to be on level 2 or 3, highways or interstates, depending on your comfort level. For sure, if it's slippery, snowy conditions, level 4 there, but you've got options. But then if you take that same gap adjustment button, if you push and hold it for a second, that's going to put you into a traditional cruise control instead. So that's your old school cruise. So let's say if you set it at 60, car in front of you slows down, yours will not brake. So that's the difference between the adaptive versus the traditional. There's also this little feller, and that's the lane following system. So the car is not hands-free driving. It doesn't have that flexibility, but with this system enabled, if the vehicle recognizes the lane markings, it's going to go green here. And then what's going to happen here is if you lose focus for a second, you take your hands off the steering wheel, it's going to keep you perfectly balanced in your lane. Like I said, not full self-driving, because after about 10 seconds, you get a little message inside of the cluster screen here telling you that steering's required. But it's neat to know that if you lose focus for a second, you're rubbernecking like an idiot, the vehicle will at least keep you perfectly balanced with those lane markings recognized. Straightforward. And down by your left knee, there are a few different switches. So you can use this one in order to adjust the brightness of the cluster screen. This is a hot button press in order to get into your different safety systems. You can also turn on your defroster, the park sensing system, so that beeping that you get as you back up. You can toggle traction control on or off this way, and then there's your electronic parking brake. So with the parking brake, you're going to push in to turn it on. You're going to hit the brake and then pull out in order to be able to turn it off. Taking a peek at the cluster screen. So you can see here, you've got your tachometer off to the left, speedometer off to the right, your digital speed there, along with whether your cruise control system is turned on, that lane keeping system, etc. Along the very bottom, you can see what gear you're in. So whether that's park, reverse, neutral, drive, etc. So these things are going crazy just because I'm parked in front of a snowbank there, but you can see all of your different sensors. If you had them, yay or nay. Along the very bottom, you can see your current engine temperature along with your current odometer. Along the bottom right-hand side is going to be your current fuel gauge done 2 different ways. So it's your gauge counter there versus your kilometers or miles till empty instead. Inside of the infotainment system, so if you go into settings and then system, drop down into system units, you can change it out to either kilometers or miles. So you're going south of the border, north of the border, whatever the case may be. You can see there it adjusts everything. So your speed there, and then all of your other options there as well. So it's straightforward adjusting it out. And then another neat thing to point out, as you hit the brake, you can see that go on. As you hit your blinkers, that shows up, your high beams, etc. It's just one neat little touch that Acura does inside of their cars. And then you've got a few different buttons here to navigate through those individual sections of the cluster screen. So we'll start off with the left. So if you hit the menu button there, that's going to let you choose all of your available sources. So if you wanted to listen to FM radio, you can dive in, and then you can select between all of your available favorites. You can swipe across in order to go to stations that you've listened to recently, and that's the same for AM, FM, etc. So if we go down to, actually, let's even do Sirius XM. Same idea, you go to your recents and you can see what recent stations you've listened to or your favorited stations. But if you want to know how to set up presets and favorited stations, you'll find that in the infotainment walkthrough down in the description of this video. But moving back, you've got all of your different sources there. You can also customize which sources are there. So if you're never going to use Alexa, never going to use Android Auto, USB audio, etc., or any of these other options, you can select or deselect any ones that you'd like to. Once you've selected or deselected, if you go back, you now see that you can switch between any of these other options instead. So the pad here is going to be for adjusting out the sources that you're in. Kind of neat. Along the right-hand side, you're going to be using this pad in order to adjust out that. So if we slide up and down, you've got your trip counter, so trip A versus trip B. You've got different options there. Same idea inside of the infotainment system. It gives you a few different options. The big one here is that if we go into our vehicle settings, into meter setup, you've then got your trip A versus trip B reset timing. So when do you want your trip A or B counters to reset? Do you want to manually reset it? Do you want it when your vehicle's turned off or every time you refuel? So if you're using your vehicle for business and you want to track your mileage easy, you've got that flexibility. But inside of the cluster screen here, you could switch between your A versus B counter by moving that dial left or right. If you wanted to reset, you just push and hold the button in the middle there. in order to bring you back to 0 instead. Bringing you down brings you to this navigation screen. So if you had an active route going here, so let's shoot across and find some recent addresses. Let's go to Tim Hortons. Nice and Canadian of me. There we go. So you can see there, turn-by-turn directions. So with an active route going, it's turn-by-turn directions. With nothing there, it's just a compass view instead. Jumping down a level is your oil life counter through the infotainment. You can recenter that out or bring it back to 0 again, or I guess 100% if you change it out yourself. As you go to drive, you'll be able to see which wheel gets which amount of power. You've got your G meter, driver attention level. So as you start to veer over too many times into another lane without signaling, eventually it's going to tell you that you should probably take a break. You can see if there are people in the vehicle, whether or not their seatbelts are plugged in. There's just a basic calming view screen instead. There's all of your safety information. So if you wanted to disable all of these options, like your road departure mitigation, your blind spot system, things like that, you'd have the flexibility of toggling these systems on or off. I just recommend keeping them turned on. And back into our gauge settings. So you've got two different options there. You can adjust out your speed units here. So you could do it through the infotainment or right through the screen here instead if you'd like to. And then you've also got the flexibility of adjusting out the look. So there's a gauge layout here, so either advanced or crafted. So the meter view here is kind of neat. It's going to come down to a matter of preference. I think that the advanced one is a little bit more simplistic versus this is going to be like your traditional old school. And then you've got your dynamic shift off to the right-hand side here. So as you move between different drive modes, that's going to change up the look. So sport, and then if you push and hold, or twist and hold, I should say, that puts you into your sport plus. But look at that. That is so nice looking. But the drive modes there are pretty neat. You've got the flexibility of locking it out to these different modes as necessary. I know that's a lot of information, but that's everything you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Acura TLX.